Hi there, my name is Abigail Jonas, and this is my presentation over how to teach students learning norms. First, we look at learning norms. What expectations do students have of school? Why are we learning? And what is keeping our students engaged? What are we doing in our lessons that are keeping those students wanting more? They're asking those questions, they're wanting to expand their knowledge. First off, the relationships. I am a kindergarten teacher, and so some of this presentation will be geared towards that level of activities, just giving you a little bit of a heads up. So first off with the relationships, I think this is my favorite one. Allow the students into your life. Allow them to know what happens in, the funnies, the fails, let them get to know you as a person and not just a teacher. Find common interests. Personally, this year, I am a huge Green Bay Packers fan, and I swear my entire class is a Kansas City Chiefs fan. And so that is our common interest. We talk about football. Find those interests that keep those kids engaged and they want to talk to you. Take the time to have the conversations with the students. I did a method with a student of mine that was the 4x10. So for 4 days, I took that student out in the hallway and I did one-on-one for 10 minutes and just tried to build that relationship with that student, get to know them on a personal level. Attend activities outside of school to show support. With me, just myself being a kindergarten teacher, that consists of instructional sports, a lot of students running around in a gym, but some of my past students I've gone and watched them play multiple sports during the year. And then share a positive about the day. That's something we do in our classroom. We share one positive about the day, or we start on Mondays, we share a positive from the weekend. This allows everyone to learn about each individual student and build that relationship not only with the teacher, but also the other students in the classroom. Second is relevance. Relevant to student interests. Incorporate real life activities. Bring in stakeholders or outside resources to present information about topics. For this one, I have a 100th day. I will convert my classroom into a one-room schoolhouse for the day, and we often have the Historical Society come in and talk to the kids about what life was back like then, excuse me. And I will also have a farmer who has a one-room schoolhouse. He will bring in artifacts from his schoolhouse that sits on some of his land. Then get to know my students' interests and create lessons geared towards those interests. For instance, some of my classes have been strong Legos. They like that engineering side. So incorporate those science lessons that allow them to build and utilize some of those skills they might have. And then honest conversations about the unknown topics. Sometimes you have to be okay with not knowing the answer and looking it up as a class. And that shows the students that you don't know everything, that you're learning with them. Then we do time, learn at your own pace. With kindergarten, when they come in, you may have students that know every single letter, and you may have students that do not know what a letter is. So with that, this is kind of a wide range, but we use Khan Academy Kids and Moby Max. This is something that the students move at their own pace. I allow time for my students to complete assignments. Some students get it done really fast. Sometimes, you have those students that take a while, and you have to allow them to maneuver through those assignments. You can't rush them. Help students with corrections. That's a big one. Especially take the time to sit with them one-on-one. I know that time is of essence when at school, but you have to take it and really give those kids that attention they need and kind of build on what skills they do have. We also do small group intervention. This builds with individual kids and group kids on what skills they're kind of lacking, and that kind of allows them to catch up a little bit. Maybe they can't move as fast. Timing, learning that fits students' learning style. Allow for accommodations on assignments, and learn what makes sense to the students. I believe that flexibility within a lesson and flexibility within teaching styles. You have to read your students during that lesson. You can see it on their faces. If they're not understanding it, you better backtrack and reevaluate really fast. And that comes from not only flexibility from the teacher, but I feel like the students have to be able to we can't gear a lesson towards each individual student, so they are also being flexible on how they're learning as well. Play. Play is huge in kindergarten. Opportunities to explore. Activities that are not graded. They are just learning how to complete assignments. Activities that teach life skills are very important, such as tying a shoe. That's a major one that we teach in my level. Also how to zip a jacket. So, and not just those basic skills, but there's lots of life skills that we teach, and it gives those students an opportunity to take that information and utilize it outside of school as well. Allow for students to think outside of the box. This is big on the STEM activities that we incorporate in the classroom. And then plan for as much time as needed to complete these activities. It is hard when you have a big project and you only have 20 minutes to do it. So plan for those times ahead and understand that, hey, I might not get to something today. I'm gonna allow them the time to complete this activity to its full potential. Practice. Engage in practice of the skills. For us, we use a lot of manipulatives, allow those students to utilize the hands-on, allow for corrections and one-on-one support, make the time for that. Table work, that's also just group settings. I'm big on peer mentoring. Allow those students to work together, help one another. Sometimes students learn best from a peer. And then hands-on activities to help build the skill being taught or reviewed. Sometimes they just have to have something in their hands to help understand what it is that we are trying to get across to them. Choice about my learning. This I feel like is kind of hard in kindergarten because they're just kind of understanding what school is, and so they're kind of just gaining that concept of what is learning. So the small group activity choices, we have a variety of reading activities they may choose from, or math activities. That gives them the choice of what they want to work on that day. So it's kind of putting it back on them, but still you're kind of like gearing them, you're kind of pushing them towards something that they maybe need to work on. For instance, an iPad choice, Moose Math is a math building app, DDM Reading is a phonics building, and then ABC Mouse is an overall. They can choose one of those. They can decide what they're going to work on that day. That puts it back on them. After school program, that's the parents' choices on the student learning, but it is also their learning individually. Not everyone has to attend that. And then students choose to work in groups or partners or independently. We will have projects in here where the students are able to make that choice for themselves and determine what's best for them. Authenticity. Student work it's kind of hard. We don't write papers. We don't enter a lot of contests like some of the other projects I have seen is where they write essays and turn them in. Ours is mainly just student work is posted on our school or district Facebook. There might be projects displayed for others to view, and for instance, in the hallway or in the classroom, we might keep some of the projects up for a little bit. And then bringing in other people to help show the importance of subject. For instance, we bring in our librarian that she teaches my students the importance of reading and how it builds your vocabulary. So utilize those outside resources to help you show that what you're learning is going to be significant for you outside of just the classroom. Challenging the students. The higher level questioning, that's a big one. Trying to make them think past just, is it right or is it wrong? Challenge the students to think, or students thinking. And then STEM projects without assistance, we've done it to where I just give them the resources and say, build it. That allows them, their little brains to start going and really think past just, okay, what is she telling me to do? Writing prompts that's a hard skill in kindergarten. They're just learning how to write, but that is challenging them to utilize their brain, their spelling skills, their reading skills, their comprehension of the topic. And then reading independently, their reading skills are minimal in the start, but by challenging them to read with a partner, challenging them to read by themselves, or just even with as a whole class, that it's constantly pushing those students to meet like the next expectation or that next higher level. Then the application, applying what I am learning. Reading with parents at home, that's a big one with us. They are taking those reading skills learned in class, they're going home, they're reading to their parents, and the parents have to sign and return it. Give the students assignments that relate to life skills, tying shoes, zipping the coat. I've talked about those prior, and those skills are something that seem kind of silly to others, but someone has to teach them, right? And then we have to make sure that they're doing that on their own. That's pushing them, applying that outside of school. Someone's not always going to help you. And then create lessons that help apply what we are learning to tasks that we are completing. For instance, we have students that go home and say, I counted my Cheerios today. And so they're taking those skills, those one-to-one skills that we teach, and they're putting them to use outside of school. And so that's good to see that they're able to do that by themselves. My standard correlation, this assignment correlates with our standards by allowing us to look at the expectations the students should have and how we can meet those expectations in the classroom. This assignment allowed us to look at students' learning and how we can reach full potential of student learning by how we teach the students. These expectations will help the students realize what they need as learners and to help get them ready for the future. My relevancy statement. This allowed for me to grow as a leader and a teacher by learning about students' norms that best help them grow. I know that there were different areas, but never had to look in depth into them and how each one affects each learner differently. This assignment made me look into my classroom and observe if I am reaching my students to the best of my ability. And then a personal statement. I personally like this assignment and how it applied directly to me as a teacher and as a future leader. This helps me currently just by looking at my students and analyzing if I am meeting their needs as learners. I actually had a co-teacher listen to the video, and she went back to her classroom and wrote down ideas of how to better her instruction to help her current students. The biggest one I feel like I related to the most was the building relationships. I currently have 28 students, so building relationships with 28 kindergartners was a task. Since I am a kindergarten teacher, we oftentimes are the ones that have to teach the students how great school is. They are normally scared, nervous, and clung on tight to mom, so it is our job to build those relationships quickly that make them want to come to school without tears. And then last but not least, I have my reference page. Thank you guys for listening.